This is Amisha Gandhi with Signal 8, and we're on Under the Influence, and we're here at DigimarCon 2025 in San Francisco. And I have Maddie Hansis with me from Fujitsu Marketing, and it's an agency, and they focus on digital. And we've talked a lot about digital marketing, AI, ABM, in the sessions today. And so, Maddie, tell me some of the things that you're learning as being part of this conference.
Yeah, so this conference has been super interesting. I've loved listening to all the different ways that people are using AI, a lot of different strategies with prompting methods and how to be more specific and put in the right kind of information that's going to get you the outputs that you want. So it's been really interesting to hear everyone's strategies and also just broadly how people are using it to solve different problems that maybe I hadn't thought about beforehand. So it's really interesting to get a good grasp on all of this stuff that's going on in the industry.
Yeah, and we're hearing from different industries. And somebody was talking about sports and entertainment yesterday and SMS, right, which is really different. So, one of the other things that you and I were talking about was digital marketing. And what are you seeing with your clients? Like, what are people really focused on? What are their issues, and what are they trying to solve for right now?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk right now with some of my clients in SEO and AI and how that's kind of going into effect because, traffic is dropping. So a lot of our clients are coming to us concerned with AI stealing their traffic. And so we're kind of like talking to them about how we can kind of optimize for those AI queries and really get those longer tailed queries into their content and using like FAQs and really focusing on the user intent. I think one of the things with SEO is it really goes back to EEAT, which for those of you that don't know, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And so one of the things that I'm noticing with my clients is that you can't cut corners, you can't do keyword stuffing, you can't kind of go around the process. You really have to focus on user intent when you're creating content, and that's really what's moving the needle right now, not only for just general search, but also with AI optimization as well.
Because LLMs are learning this is a good source, this is a bad source. And so, I think, one of my favorite topics is obviously influencer marketing. And a lot of people are talking about that as part of the digital package and measurement. And, how do you see the effectiveness to make sure it's authentic? And I think AI is actually going to be good in the language, models learning. These folks content is actually authoritative and is good. And if you as a brand are working with those folks and incorporate their content, their thought leadership into what you're putting out, you could almost become a library of knowledge for your industry, and then the LLMs are going to use you and have you be a really good source, and it's going to tag you higher, I think, for authenticity, for trustworthiness.
Yeah.
So I think being altruistic and being a convener in your industry might be something that's good. I mean, what do you think about that? And what else are you seeing with clients?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think a lot of the things that I have conversations with my clients right now is just focusing on, with particular blogs, like what the intent of the keywords are. Obviously, you want to optimize for certain keywords, but it's more, we're moving towards a topical approach. So making sure that you are focused on all of the semantic words around a similar topic. So instead of just focusing on one particular keyword, you're focusing on that topic and making sure that you're really answering the question of the user and what they're kind of asking in their search processes. And that's why things like FAQs are so helpful, is because LLMs and AI just kind of pull those answers and use those and cite them. And so optimizing for those longer tailed queries is really, really beneficial right now.
Because you're saying that, everyone always wants the hottest keyword, and you're like, yes, you should cover those topics that are really important to your audience, but we should also think about the nuanced topics and the long tail, because you're saying the long tail is going to actually help you win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And is that a new wave, or has that always been the case?
As you want to focus on answering those questions, but I think in the past, things like keyword stuffing has been a tactic that people have used, and it has been successful to an extent. But as Google continues to put out updates, and as LLMs continue to learn and become more popular for search behavior, we're going to see this continue to shift a lot more. So making sure that when you are putting your SEO strategy together and your overall digital marketing strategy, you're really focused on the user first, what they want to know, what they want to learn, and that's really going to like boost you into that next level. And yeah, we have like a lot of situations with clients where they have content that has worked in the past that has kind of become stagnant. And what we're seeing with that is that they're being populated for AI overviews. So when you come into those kinds of conversations, it's more of, okay, what do we need to look at now? Because maybe our KPIs are changing, and maybe instead of focusing just on direct traffic to these pages, we want to focus on impressions and how many people are seeing that populate with like AI overviews and stuff like that. So there's a lot of shift, a lot of changing, and it's just overall really exciting. But I think we're moving in a really good direction for searchers being able to find that relevant content that is actually helpful.
But, and it's not just big brands that are going to. A lot of people are like, oh, if you're Nike, of course it's easy, and or if you're this, if you're in B2B, especially if you're the software company, you're well known, like an SAP or a Snowflake, then of course you're going to be seen as an authority. But if you're a startup or a smaller company, I think this actually gives them an advantage to sort of like leapfrog some of the bigger competitors and have a real voice in the industry because they have something different and new to offer.
Exactly, and it kind of goes back to one of the things we actually heard in the conference today was making sure that you're owning the conversation, and making sure that you're owning the conversation around a particular topic is really going to boost you into like where you want to be.
I'm laughing because my team knows that I always say own the conversation, so thank you for that plug. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So with that, own the conversation, and thank you so much, Maddie. I really appreciate all your insights because you're on the ground floor working with a lot of folks, and your agency, doing digital marketing with all kinds of companies. So check out what Maddie's doing, follow them, and we'll see you in a little bit.